Welcome to Guyana News Updates. We begin tonight with somber news from the political landscape. The nation is mourning the sudden passing of People's Progressive Party Civic candidate, Daniel Williams, who collapsed and died while delivering a campaign speech at a roadside meeting in Agatash, Region 7, on Monday night. Mr. Williams was widely recognized for his years of service as a headmaster and educator. The People's Progressive Party remembered him as an educator and community leader, acknowledging his unwavering dedication to improving the lives of those around him and describing him as a valuable comrade and true public servant. His passing has left a profound void, not just in the political landscape of Bartica but also in the hearts of all who knew him. The Alliance for Change specifically noted that his contribution to the development of young minds and the advancement of education will not be forgotten. Other political parties, including the APNU, Alliance for Change, We Invest in Nationhood Party, and the Forward Guyana Movement, have all offered their tributes and condolences. His life is remembered as an example of service, with statements reminding us that life is fragile and that we are all human beings first.
Welcome to a new deep dive. We try to cut through the noise here and get to what really matters. And today we're looking at a story that, well, it's quite impactful, really reminds you about the human side of public life. We're focusing on Daniel Williams, a candidate for the People's Progressive Party Civic in Guyana. He very recently, tragically, passed away, collapsed during a campaign speech. And the sources we have, they don't just cover the event, but also the reaction, which has been pretty widespread, actually, right across the political lines.
Yeah, what's really striking, I think, is how this tragedy seems to have, brought people together. For a moment, anyway, there's this collective reflection happening on things like service, community, shared humanity, even with all the political differences.
Yeah.
So we'll dig into who Daniel Williams was and maybe what his passing tells us about the bigger picture in Guyana, looking through these statements.
Okay, so let's unpack it. What actually happened Monday night? This was in Agatash, Region 7. And what are these different reactions really telling us about him and maybe, the political climate there? So the basics first. It was Monday, August 5th, 2025. Daniel Williams, the PPP candidate, he was speaking. A roadside meeting in Agatash, and, well, he collapsed and died right there. Very sudden, very public.
And before jumping into how people reacted, it's probably important to know who he was. I mean, beyond just being a candidate. Many knew him as Sir Daniel. He was a headmaster and an educator for years. So that background, it's pretty key to understanding his connection to the community.
Right. That makes sense. That educator role often commands a certain respect.
Exactly. And it seems like that respect carried over into his public life later on.
And, like it happens now, videos of the collapse, people rushing to help, they were shared online, social media, made it very stark, very immediate for everyone watching.
So after this happened, his own party, the PPP Civic, they put out a statement. They remembered him, of course, as an educator, a community leader, and they really emphasized his unwavering dedication to improving the lives of those around him.
That's strong wording. They called him a valuable comrade and true public servant, clearly held in high regard within the party. But, like you said, the really interesting part here is that the condolences didn't stop there. They came from, well, all over the political map.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes this stand out. Take Teresa Fernandez. She's the APNU prime ministerial candidate. APNU is a major opposition group, and she's actually from Region 7 herself. She said his passing left a profound void.
A profound void.
Yeah, and not just, she said, in Bartica's politics, but in the hearts of people who knew him. She even mentioned personally that her own political start was in Bartica, and Sir Daniel was one of the figures who made that experience meaningful. That's quite personal.
Wow. Okay. So a deep personal connection acknowledged there, even across party lines. She also said something like, though he entered politics later in life, he gave it all. That speaks volumes, doesn't it, about his commitment?
It really does. And it wasn't just APNU, the Alliance for Change, the AFC, another big party. They also issued condolences. They specifically pointed to his work in education, his contribution to the development of young minds and the advancement of education. They said that won't be forgotten.
So again, that educator background coming through as central to his legacy.
And their statement added something powerful. They said, regardless of political differences, Mr. Williams' passing is a loss to us all.
A loss to us all. That's significant.
Yes. And they followed with, His life exemplified service, and his impact will continue to be felt by those he taught, mentored, and led. So focusing on the impact beyond politics.
It's really painting a picture of someone whose influence was felt much wider than just his party affiliation.
And we even saw it from newer groups. The We Invest in Nationhood party win in. Their presidential candidate, Azruddin Mohammed, offered condolences. He said, "Life is fragile, and moments like these remind us that we are all human beings first."
Human beings first.
And he added, "We must never allow politics to rob us of our shared humanity."
That shared humanity theme.
Yeah.
It really jumps out, especially coming from a political rival. And it ties into what another group said too, right? The Forward Guyana Movement.
Yes, exactly. They echoed that sentiment. They called his death a sad reminder that behind the colors, the flags, platforms, and rallies, we are all human beings.
It's a perspective you don't always hear emphasized during, active campaigning.
And they grounded it, too, saying a family has lost a loved one, a school has lost a leader, and a community is grieving, bringing it back to the personal, the community level.
So we've heard these different tributes, powerful on their own. But when you step back, look at them all together, what's really striking is how consistent that message is, isn't it? Coming from such different political corners.
It really is. This focus on shared humanity, respect for his service, especially as an educator, acknowledging his impact beyond just politics.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What is it about him, or maybe this particular moment, that allowed for that kind of unity in expressing grief?
That's a great question. Is it the universal respect for educators, or maybe the sort of public and sudden nature of his death that just cut through the usual divisions?
Going through these, what really hits me is how that dedication to service, particularly education, seems to have built bridges. Maybe without him even intending it politically. It feels like his impact was just undeniable to everyone. Even political opponents had to acknowledge it.
Right. It kind of underscores that even when political campaigns are really intense, and they definitely can be, there are these moments that transcend the everyday arguments.
It really brings home that idea, a life spent serving a community, teaching, that leaves a mark, a lasting one.
And perhaps it raises a bigger question, too. Given how divided politics often feels, what does it actually mean when you see opponents come together like this, in grief? Acknowledging someone's basic contributions, their humanity. It's a reminder, maybe, that common ground isn't entirely lost. It can still be found in these sort of fundamental human experiences, like loss.
So thinking about all this, what's the takeaway for you, the listener?
Well, this deep dive, it's more than just reporting on a sad event. It's a really potent reminder, I think, that even in really charged political arenas, that basic human connection, that respect for a life of service, it can still shine through.
Yeah. And if you connect it to the bigger picture, it kind of nudges us to think about how individual lives, people just dedicated to making their communities better, how they can actually bridge divides, how they can foster this collective sense of, loss, but also appreciation. That goes beyond party labels.
We hope this discussion gave you a richer sense of things, not just the what happened, but the human stories and maybe the societal reflections underneath it all. And something for you to mull over, perhaps. In a world that feels increasingly polarized, could these moments of genuine shared grief like the one surrounding Daniel Williams actually play a role in shifting political conversations? Not just in Guyana, maybe, but more broadly. Do they offer some kind of blueprint for finding common ground, something we often miss in the day-to-day political noise?